Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Good evening.
Tonight we'll be reviewing My Stepmother Is an Alien, which was released in 1988.
Yeah, this is a science fiction comedy. Sort of fits in the old sci-fi quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quite right.
Mm-hmm. Now, all right, this one's produced by Franklin Levy. Well, Levy, I think. Ronald Parker is the other producer. Directed by Richard Benjamin.
You may have heard me. He starred in the other movie that they starred in called Love at First Bite, and he was also in Westworld, the first movie.
In or produced or directed?
He starred in it.
Oh, wow.
He played the weird, wacky doctor in I Love at First Bite.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this one, he's directing. So I guess all those years of being behind the camera has paid off.
Okay, here we go. Written by Herschel Wingrod, Timothy Harris, and Jonathan Reynolds. But it was actually taken from somebody else's script.
Really?
Yeah. The original script was by a person called Jericho something or other. I'll mention him later on.
Hope they didn't prosecute.
No. They put it and they rewrote it.
Okay.
They don't normally do. The original script was going to be a drama.
Okay.
Right. He got accreditation for it.
I know.
He got accreditation for it, but yeah, they rewrote the script to make it into a comedy. Okay. Now, budget $19 million. Box office $14 million odd. It didn't go very good at box office.
No?
I don't know why, but depending on what the competition was when they actually released it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Now, an official box office bomb because it didn't cover cost. It also received negative reviews from a majority of film critics, and that probably stopped people going to see the movie. But however, the leading lady, Kim Basinger, and the second lead male, which is done by Jon Lovitz, they got good reviews for their acting in the movie. How's that?
That's a good relief.
Right. Some people didn't like Dan Aykroyd's acting, didn't think he was a good leading man for a love interest. It's not a love story. It's a comedy.
And
the guy is
sci-fi.
supposed to be, but the guy was supposed to be a guy who hasn't been out for female for 5 years, and she's going to seduce a guy who was really nervous and whatever. Yeah. He wasn't a chick magnet. He wasn't supposed to be a chick magnet.
He's supposed to be a scientific guy.
Yeah, and I think he covered the role quite well in this movie. Yes, I don't think he would have worked as a lead role in a love story. It doesn't work, but this is not a love story. Okay.
Yeah, this is more of a comedy, as we said. Not.
Yeah. Now, here is the Jericho Stone was the guy who wrote the original screenplay.
Okay.
And it was originally going to be a drama based around child abuse. No, it's a topical subject.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, and how it was going to be obviously about child abuse, not so much the alien, even though there's an alien going to be in it, possibly. Yeah, so whatever. I don't know. I didn't see the original script, so I don't know exactly what was in it.
I didn't either.
Yeah. No, the point, you're missing the point. It's a story. It was supposed to be a drama. What's that? Oh, the three little pigs had a wonderful time, or the three little pigs had their buddy house burnt down. Okay?
I know.
Fine. One's a drama, one's a comedy, okay?
Okay.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay? Do you know what the subject matter? Tough tits. Okay?
Go on.
But anyway, it was going to be a drama, and they got rid of it, and they rewrote it and made the same basic theme, but turned it into a comedy, and they got the child abuse part out of it, obviously, and away they went and made the movie. Now, here we go. I won't talk about everybody in it, I'll just go through the main stars. Dan Aykroyd plays Stephen Mills, our leading man, and I think he did a good job the part, irrespective of what the critics say. Kim Basinger, beautiful leading lady. She plays a really strange alien lady who's really trying to catch up on how human beings think and act. and she does it quite well in a very humorous way. Jon Lovitz plays Ron Mills, which is Dan Aykroyd's, Stephen Mills' brother. I like Jon Lovitz in many movies, and he got good accolades for this movie. But in some parts of this, I thought it was just over the top, and it soured me a little bit on him. That's my opinion. You might think differently, but he's just a little bit too much over the top. Now, Alison Hannigan plays Jessie Mills. That's Stephen Mills, Dan's daughter. And she was in Buffy the Vampire.
Yeah,
Buffy?
she played Willow, and
She was in American Pie.
Yeah, in American Pie, and
band camp. That girl,
yeah, that sort of thing. And
she's been around a little bit.
She's been around.
Yeah. Now I won't go for everybody else. I meant to mention probably two others. Seth Green.
Yeah.
Plays Fred Glass. He's only a young fellow. He goes out with Jessie on a date.
Just
lovely.
a small cameo, if you would.
But Seth was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and a few other things around time. A bit later on, and he also got into Robot Chicken Wars and that sort of stuff. And so he does he's bent. I like him.
I do like his Luke Skywalker impression.
Yeah, but he does really good stuff. But it's a whole slew of cartoons they've made up. It covers just everyday programs, Star Wars, other good groovy things, and good. He's a funny guy. Now I will mention Anne Prentice. You mentioned something about Anne Prentice, the voice of the bag.
Yeah, she's the sister to what's her name?
Is it Benjamin?
Paula Prentice, who was Richard Benjamin's wife.
There you go. It's all in the family, folks. But she plays the voice in the bag, the little robot type creature living in the bag, which helps out our alien friend Celeste. I won't mention anybody else there. I can't think. Oh, yeah. Harry Shearer does the voice of Carl Sagan. I could have got the real Carl Sagan to do it. He was around in those days. He might have done a cameo.
He probably was unavailable. You never know.
Some of you don't know Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan he's a scientist, astrologer, astronomer, whatever. He had a show called Cosmos, I think, years ago. Probably that same period. I watched it. It was great. He was a very intelligent man and well-spoken, and I really got into space stuff back in those days. Anyway,
I think Dan Aykroyd is just the same, considering when he did Ghostbusters, he was really into the supernatural stuff.
Yeah, okay. We're not going to talk about Ghostbusters.
I'm just telling you guys. That was probably one of the reasons why Dan Aykroyd got involved in this production. Yeah. Not just the comedy and the humour. Probably his interest.
Wasn't his grandfather into supernatural stuff or something, or was that the other guys? One of the other guys. Somebody in that group had the grandfather or somebody who was actually into the supernatural, and they got their interest in it from.
I don't know.
Yeah, so you don't know everything. Now,
moving on. So the story begins with Steve, who works at this scientific laboratory, and he's planning on sending electric current using lightning into outer space.
I'll translate into human. He's a widowed scientist working on different ways to send radio waves into deep space.
Radio waves using a satellite and lightning and thunder.
And lightning that was help to amplify the signal somehow, rather.
Yeah, and while this is happening, he plans on doing it too close, way to the end of their galaxy. But as turns out, unexpectedly, it turns out it went straight out of their galaxy and into a new galaxy. Another galaxy.
The thing that was actually running the power that they're using had a short circuit, and it increased the power output significantly. So it gave an extra charge. So it went straight out of the galaxy into a planet called Cosine N to the 8th.
Cosmogena.
Obviously, it must be not a real one.
Yeah. Again, and at first he's pretty proud of his accomplishment, but then his boss comes in and tells him, because of the radioactivity he did. Because it caused a bit of an earthquake inside the building.
He broke the gear.
He broke the gear, and he's fired.
Take your coffee cup, your nodding duck, and leave.
Yeah, so he took all his gear, and he tells his daughter, what's her name? Jessie, the bad news that he's been sacked, and
he may have to apply for a job as a teacher.
Yeah, which could be like, say, thousands of positions that may be unavailable.
Yeah. So
one out of many, no positions available.
That's a problem, isn't it, sometimes, folks? Yeah.
Yeah, well,
a million jobs out there and 2 million people looking for them. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so and his daughter remarks that their mum would be pleased that he would have done this sort of thing, and would be asking for for champagne all around. And
yeah, exactly right.
she remarks, will he ever find a girl like her mum again?
And he said,
he says the same thing, like it's unlikely because
she was one of a kind.
She was one of a kind. So anyway, they make their way to have dinner, and later on, we don't know how long, a spaceship is hurtling through the galaxy, and there's
hurtle.
And a space alien, a beautiful space alien named Celeste.
Celeste, what a beautiful name.
Is getting herself prepped to meet Steve in order to find out how he was able to send this radio wave to their galaxy.
Yeah. The reason being is his radio signal had reached their planet, and when it hit there, it did something to change the gravitational forces there, and it's slowly increasing the gravity. And if they don't do something about it and reverse it, they'll all die.
Yeah, exactly.
Good reason. Good reason to be there.
Along with Celeste is her bag that has a creature inside it that talks to her, sort of advises her and stuff like that.
And helps her. It makes money, dresses, anything you want,
Yeah. Anyway, as they're heading towards the planet, Steve and his daughter Jessie, they're heading off to a party that's hosted by his brother's place at a beach house. A nice one, not that.
Very nice.
Interesting fact is that very beach house was also seen in, it was seen in the TV show 90210, the Beverly Hills one, which is pretty cool.
I didn't know that. The original series?
Yeah, the original series.
Obviously, yeah.
The original series.
Yeah.
So, anyway, she eventually lands on the beach, and Celeste slowly walks out onto the beach, and she's wearing this beautiful red
dress.
Astro dress.
She looks so hot in it. So, I mean, Kim had a beautiful body then. It's probably still good now, but she's young, lithe, lovely body, wrapped in this tight red dress, stupid hat.
I don't think the hat was stupid.
She lost the hat, I think. Got rid of the hat.
But
she looked marvellous.
Yeah. Soon enough, she heads down to the party, and she meets Steve, Ron, and a number of the guests. And she tries her really hardest to fit in, but she does several things wrong in this scene.
Well, I can think of several. Her information about planet Earth and our history is 92 years old. So if you're going to talk about what we're doing, presidents, anything else, wars, anything, it's 92 years ago she's talking about.
Yeah. She mentions when she was given hors d'oeuvres, she ended up eating a cigarette instead of something, an actual food.
Yeah.
And she actually smokes a carrot.
Yeah, well, wouldn't you? Well, if you're stoned, you probably would.
And she sings a Popeye the Sailor Man.
Popeye the Sailor Man.
And she impresses everyone by doing a flip. A set of flips.
Yes, she's very good at it.
And of course, everyone's impressed, but thinking she's a bit strange. And
on drugs,
yeah. She tries to get Steve to tell about the transmission he sent not too long ago, and he doesn't give her an answer right away, and so she leaves the party, and she feels embarrassed that she caused the scene, and she feels like she's given the wrong information because of her bag or whatever.
Your bag let her down because the information was all wrong.
Yeah. Of course, the bag says, "I didn't tell you that spinach is to keep your hands warm." That was Celeste's problem.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, Steve eventually comes out there. They talk a bit, and he bores her a bit. But at the same time, he says, "I must be boring the pants off you." And she does, and she looks inside her skirt, and she says, "No,
it's still
on."
Yeah.
And
But you don't have to say every joke.
I think it's funny, that part.
Yeah, but the point
I
is,
like it that every single scene where she thinks it's just a sarcastic remark or just a slang.
She takes everything literal.
It's just like a female version of Jaime, From
pretty much Jaime out of Get Smart. Everything is literal.
Yeah. Anyway, she then, as he's about to kiss her, she decides to go back inside and asks Jess on should she wear something more moderner and much more, a date clothing.
Yeah, and
so she gives her some magazines, and she puts the magazines into her bag, and out pops a
very nice dress.
modern dress.
Very nice.
She tries to dress there out in the public eye, but Steve suggests that they go to his car to get dressed.
You get dressed in the back seat or something or other, and then they decide they go back to his house.
Well, actually, they go to the where the satellite thing, the lab,
that's right, yeah.
And this is where he goes and finds out as much as information he can about how he was able to send those radio things into such a far away distance. He discovers Ron's jacket, still a bit baffled by what just occurred. The jacket was inside the special room that allows.
And had some brass buttons or something, or copper buttons or something, which went against the cage of this thing, this power thing, and it short-circuited it and then increased the power, something or other. Yeah.
And while this is happening, his his old boss arrives there, and Celeste gives him a run for his money by using her bag to have him fly out the window and zoom across the building and into his car. Bam.
And he went home.
Yeah.
How does she know which car was his?
Doesn't really matter.
Okay, right. Okay. Well, I was asking,
And then Steve takes her out to the satellite, and they kiss for the first time.
And she didn't know what a kiss was, so behind Steve's back, her bag is running images of what kissing's about from all different movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's pasted ones, there's funny ones, there's really weird ones. Yeah. And she's anything from the Three Stooges upwards. You get the idea.
Yeah, and eventually she finally, for the final time, she kissed, and this time it was a hot kiss.
Yeah, that was a good one, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
That popped his buttons, I'll tell you right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then he decides to take her back, or she suggests that she takes him back to his house. There he introduces her to his hats collection, and there he tells her about Jimmy Durante.
Don't go into it too much. You'll be here all night,
Okay, but it's a relevant part to the story.
It comes on later on, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he then goes upstairs to check on Jessie, whom I don't know who chopped her off. Doesn't matter. Not really important.
What?
Well, she was at the party earlier, and I wonder who dropped her off. Maybe her uncle or maybe a friend.
That's interesting. She was at the party, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, never know. She might have come for friends.
Maybe, there was two of her friends at the party.
Yeah.
I think.
So one of the parents might have taken them to the party and taken them home again. Yeah.
Anyway,
whatever.
Then this is where Steve suggests that they do it, and so she goes into the bathroom to find out everything she can about what
sex.
And of course, there is a bit of gaps in her education.
She's about how old? Is she 1,000 years old or something? Yeah. And they don't do sex anymore. So she's 1,000 years old, looks pretty hot, and has never had sex. She's a virgin. Wow.
Well, as a
1,000-year-old virgin.
Well, actually, you'd be surprised. I mean, according to some Planet information, you find that if you look up your age on a different planet, you'll find you might be a different age on that set of planets. So who knows? She might be still in her 20s or 30s on Earth.
I think it's implied that she's 1,000 years old. Like Yoda is 700 years old and stuff. I think it was implied that she's 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it depends on how long the planet goes around the sun.
Maybe.
Anyway, doesn't matter. So anyway, she then gets some video footage like Debbie does Dallas, yada yada stuff.
Debbie does Dallas and Debbie does Baltimore.
Then she finally decides to go ahead and does it, and she enjoys it actually.
Yeah, the first time. hey, she liked it. And she was good at it.
Ooh. Anyway, later on that night, she checks more information.
Oh, and there wasn't anything graphic? You didn't see anything?
No.
Kiddies can watch this.
Yeah, and she decides. So later that night, when Steve's asleep, she goes downstairs to check out some information. She even check out some books.
Yeah, she could read a book by laying her arm inside it and just absorbing the text.
Yeah, I liked it when she absorbed Stephen King's text.
It was shining. Put that one down quickly, you know.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, she then listens to a video, one of Jimmy Durante's stuff.
Yeah, and that's Jimmy Durante. And, Steve is into the old stuff. He likes Jimmy Durante.
Who doesn't?
And he's singing, doing a song and dance routine, which comes into it later on. So,
yeah. Later the next morning, Jessie sees that Celeste has slept over Steve's house, and she's quite thrilled that her dad's finally let down his hair, so to speak.
Well, it looked up, yeah.
He looked like
how 240 volts up his sleeve. His hair was sticking up a little bit.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that or
he had a good night, guys.
Yeah, and
he was happy.
Yeah, and Celeste is thrilled that he had a good time, and she plans on leaving that very night. But he doesn't want her to leave. He says that she's the most extraordinary person in his life, and he could not stand to see her go away. And he suggests on the spot they should get married.
I'd marry her. Honestly, she is really hot.
Yeah, and
whatever. Yeah.
He says it's really spontaneous, but he doesn't want her going away. So he suggests that she go for a walk to clear her head about it. So she goes off in her bathrobe and wearing a weird hat and decide to walk around, a bit and talk to the bag.
Talk to a bag.
So the bag suggests that, Celeste suggests to contact the elders and maybe talk to them about this marriage thing. And even the bag doesn't even know what this marriage thing is.
Yeah, it's old stuff.
So she heads down to a special oval, I guess arena, if that's the word, because that's what the elders want.
Oh, sporting arena. Yeah.
So they talk about it, and they bring out this very big book where it explains what the marriage is, even though it gives you three different ideas of it.
Yeah, it's old wrong decade.
Yeah.
You stay home, you cook and clean, and you make a martini for your husband who comes home. Oh, wrong decade. That sort of stuff.
And then the final one, which is a bit hilarious, was there was no rules regarding this sort of thing, but if he does something wrong, you set him on fire when he's asleep and go on a talk show, and so that everyone will forgive you and love you.
Yeah, you can make lots of money.
Oh man, that was hilarious.
So they had no idea.
No, they didn't. They're just
for an advanced race, they're a bit stupid. Yeah.
Meaning they're much as in the dark as we are.
Yeah. Well, I got no idea what marriage is. I've been married since I got married when I was 25, and I'm 68 now. That's a long time. You don't get that long. Yeah. That much time for murder, guys.
Yeah.
Do you?
Anyway, they then suggested that she should go ahead and get married to him, and talk about. They talk a bit more about the how they should organize the next transmission of whatever, and they need the lightning in order to.
And another storm's coming. Aren't we lucky? Good timing.
Yeah, of course the elders said we'll provide the lightning. How I never know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Anyway, they then end their transmission, and we cross to the wedding, and he says, and this is where we get more information where Jessie says that they only met last night, so this wedding is happening on the same day that
I'm a little bit confused on one thing here.
What's that?
I'm going to stop just for a moment. He broke everything at the laboratory, including the thing on the radar dish or satellite dish, whatever.
Yes.
You mean to say in 12 hours everything's been repaired?
Good point.
They made a mistake here.
Well, the radio, Anyway, it doesn't matter. So
we're moving right along, folks.
Ron is not thrilled about the marriage, but he's more jealous than thrilled.
Yeah. He got a fixation about Princess Stephanie of Monaco.
Yeah,
and she was a very lovely-looking lady back in those days. I don't know what she looks like now. And that was his dream woman, and his brother, who's boring compared to him, has got this dream woman in his
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a little bit surprised that she just happened to be carrying around a wedding gown. He thinks that
In her bag.
that he might be that maybe she's doing this for citizenship,
Yeah, illegal alien. Yeah,
legal alien, whatever, stuff like that.
Literally. Oh. No, yeah.
It's a funny thing. Anyway, when Jessie goes off to where Celeste is getting changed, she sees her eating some batteries.
He's having a couple of D cells for lunch.
Yeah.
Well, not the whole bag, just the stuff inside.
Just stuff like the energy stuff, the liquid, whatever they call
the
it.
gel and stuff, which got electrolytes and stuff inside.
Yeah, so she eats it like a Tootsie Roll packet,
Yeah,
whatever.
she sucks it dry. It's got the shell of the battery there. Not bad.
Yeah, Jessie tries to go to her dad, telling her that she's eating batteries, but her dad just sees this as a slight bit of
Jealousy sneaking in, green-eyed monster. Yeah.
or just that he'll be more in love with her than he'll love his own daughter. This sort of
jealousy.
That sort of thing.
Relationship, yeah. Father and daughter, and a strange woman comes in, no matter how good she is.
Even though Jessie's the one that's encouraging this relationship. Initially at the beginning.
Then she starts saying, "Ooh, she's an alien, she's creepy, she's horrible." Well, that was the day before.
And this is not the first time she sees something.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time she sees something weird. She sees Jessie. Miss Celeste taking out that dress earlier that was in a handbag that was
She saw
made.
that.
That was
She saw the
designed.
batteries, and later on she sees it drinking out of a car battery.
Anyway,
Yeah. Hydrochloric acid, I think it is,
so
isn't it? Yeah, whatever.
so Celeste and Steve start getting married, and she puts the bag down, and there's a dog in this. There's a beagle.
Beagle, I think. Yeah.
Named Dave,
Dave the beagle.
who's Steve's dog, and the dog goes and buries the handbag in the yard, and the handbag gets its revenge by flying the old Dave up to the roof.
Floating him up, planting him on the apex of the roof.
Yeah,
Poor
and
Dave.
of course Celeste sees this, and she says quickly, "I do," and then she runs outside, and she then sees the bag, and she tells Steve that Dave's on the roof, and they decide to quickly save the dog.
Yeah, see, a man's best friend is his dog, not the alien lady. So,
Ron tries to give her a smoking hot kiss, but eventually that ends. And eventually we go into full party mode with this wedding thing.
Yeah.
Where Steve's assistant is playing some awesome rock music. I think it's rock music. I'm not sure.
Oh, crap music, yeah.
Crap music.
They always do crap music for these movies, I think it's supposed to be really trendy, but it's nondescript crap music.
Yeah, so
it's like,
everyone...
It's like jazz rock fusion, sort of, that no one listens to. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun, and eventually later on we see Jessie getting ready for a date with Seth or Freddy Glass, whatever, and then Celeste remarked that he's wearing braces and calling it mouth jewelry.
Mouth jewelry. Oh, look, mouth jewelry. Oh, he's wearing teeth braces. Straighten his teeth.
Yeah. And this is where as I said before, this is the first time that these two kids are working together, and years later they work again when they got older in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a little surprised he got top billing in this movie, though. Seth Green, like his name is mentioned on the credits. Considering in the opening, when they do the credits appearing on the screen, you see Seth Green among them.
Yeah, sometimes they get the credits a bit.
Considering he's only has two scenes with
two short
with
scenes.
Jess in the scene.
It's sort of like Little Shop of Horrors. It says starring Jack Nicholson.
Yes,
Jack Nicholson was in one skit in the whole show. Yeah. And Zero, I can't remember, Zero Mr. I can't remember. Whoever the guys were, Jonathan Hayes and somebody else, were the main actors. Yeah. And they came after Jack Nicholson.
I'm not complaining much, guys. I'm not complaining here. It's just a bit of a weird thing, this sort of thing, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So they go off on a date, and Celeste and Steve do a bit of rumpty.
Rumpty.
And eventually later that night, what's his Bag impersonating
Carl Sagan.
And telling the boss to rehire Steve in order so he could do the experiment again.
Yes. because it's very important. Yeah.
Yes, and then the bag suggests that Celeste goes out and gets some grub for Steve and his daughter.
Feed him and then take his mind off everything and be tummy full of food and be able to concentrate on the problem at hand.
Yes, exactly. So she goes to a 24-hour restaurant and takes the menu and then she goes to grocery shopping and she starts cooking a very big
So we went for a whole menu and had this. The dining room table's absolutely chockers full of food.
A bit of
you could have a small army fed by her.
Interesting thing. Jesse witnessed while Celeste was cooking her drink the battery acid from her dad's car and see her actually taking boiled eggs out of a pan without getting burnt, and taking a tray out of the oven without any hand
mitts or a tea towel.
So she witnessed all this, and she tells her dad this the next morning, and he doesn't believe her. So he eventually Steve gets the good news that he's rehired, and then he's told
and off to work we go.
Of course, he objects to it because it's their honeymoon, and what person works on a honeymoon?
Gary.
Don't ever say that.
Your son-in-law. Oh, your brother-in-law. Yeah.
Anyway,
he would.
So anyway,
where's his father? Yeah.
Anyway, back to the story. Steve heads off to work, and just so before you ask me how can he go off to work, because his car drained his battery gas.
And the car starts.
Yeah, and this is where we get a shot of, as he drives off, we see other cars in the streets whose battery acid
have been drained. So he's probably drained the batteries out of one of those and put them into his, and should make the other one as a spare.
Yeah, because she's drank that instead of eating actual food or something.
Well, I wouldn't drink acid.
Me neither. But then again, who knows
alcohol?
Anyway, while this is happening, Celeste is in cleaning mode, cleaning up the house from head to toe, really fast.
Fast mode. You like
fast forward type mode. Jesse then eventually phones her dad at work, telling him that the house is on fire in order to get him back home.
And he comes home, and the house wasn't on fire. Surprise!
But before that happens, Jesse gets confronted by the alien and Celeste, and they levitate her up to the roof, or at least the bag did anyway.
The bag did, Bag's naughty,
And
Bag has a hidden agenda.
And eventually the bag also takes away Dave's bark, obviously.
He's going woof woof at him. And he couldn't hear him. Hey, I needed one of those sort of bags for the dog across the road. Now he goes woof woof all freaking bloody day,
Yeah.
I'll like shut his bark up,
Soon enough, Celeste tells Jesse the full story that they came from a planet far, far away.
And she's trying to say
and they're trying to get her dad to do the special transmission thing
again.
And if they don't, their planet is doomed.
Everyone will die.
Of course, they think that Steve says he doesn't know if he can do it again because
he doesn't know what happened.
He doesn't know how it happened.
Yeah.
But Celeste and the bag thinks that Steve is lying, and Jesse's lying about their dad's, doesn't know how he did it either. But
shame.
Celeste feels like she's finally realizing that both of them are being honest, and she's a little annoyed, and Jesse is a little upset that Celeste may be planning on leaving after this experiment is over.
And the best thing they've had in my daddy. Yeah.
Eventually,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Eventually, Celeste gets the bag to let Jesse down, and then eventually
she was really high, wasn't she?
Oh yeah. And then eventually Steve arrives, and Jesse tells the full thing, even though she promised not to tell it to her dad. But
Celeste sort of relents and confirms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Eventually, Jessie runs out of the house, and as she's riding on her
bike down the road,
she eventually nearly comes close to being knocked over by a car.
Celeste saves her
using her special abilities.
And a bag.
Yeah.
And that's when she spills the beans about being an alien.
Yeah. Jessie confides to her that she doesn't want her to go, and she feels that it's sad that both her old mum and her new mum are going to both leave soon, and it's not fair. And eventually, she talks to Steve.
Wait. But the point is, see, Celeste is starting to get feelings for Steve because they don't have feelings in where she comes from.
Yeah.
There's no emotion. They don't create babies the way we do, and so there's no room for emotion in their lives. And she's starting to develop emotions towards Steve and Jesse.
Yeah. So she then talks to Steve for a bit. Steve wants to know everything, or at least some stuff about her.
And what's going on? Yeah.
Like about her age and about how they reproduce in a petri dish.
And he says, "Wow. Mum be pleased, I'm marrying a virgin."
And he asks her, have you ever gone on holidays? What do you do for fun? And the only thing...
binary, whatever.
Graphs,
yeah.
And eventually he shares a few things of his own by giving her a sandwich and Scotch whiskey.
Making her eat it.
Yeah.
To enjoy.
Yeah. And she realised that she does find it enjoyable.
Yeah. Doesn't have to eat our food, but it's quite palatable. She has ham...
Yeah, ham and cheese and rye on mayo.
Ham and cheese on rye with mayo. And she loves it.
Yeah, she also enjoys the Scotch.
Drinking some American Scotch. Sea something, Scotch, seagrass, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Whatever, it's a Scotch in England, America.
He then tells her, asks her, does she like him and all that stuff? And she says she does love him, and that if she was a human, that maybe things would have not been different. Would have been different.
Yeah.
And he asks her, why can't you stay? And if he doesn't do the transmission, he loses her. And if he doesn't, she'll stay. But he kills the planet.
Really good dilemma, hey guys. What would you do?
Yeah, and Celeste feels like she fails at being a Earth person, and she feels like she's failed so many things.
Yeah.
And Steve says that everyone loves her, and he then does the Jimmy Durante thing I told you about, where she says, "Go, stay, go." I won't go over in the song, obviously, but then Jesse
have that feeling that you want to go, have that feeling that you want to stay, go.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice old number.
And Jesse, Jesse, I'm sorry, I keep getting mixed up. Celeste feels like this is exactly how she feels. The song that she feels like she doesn't want to go, but she can't stay. It's a very big problem. And eventually, Steve tells her he does want her to stay, and he then, as they kiss, he says it's been a weird couple of days, and in fact, he when he finally found there was life on the planet, he finally finds out and he marries it.
It's going to be married to your work, eh?
They then sleep for a bit, and then the next minute we hear lightning in the distance, and and this is where Steve finds out that it was the buttons on his brother's coat who was inside the cyclotron thing. That's the machine I told you about.
That made the extra electricity.
This is where it gave its wild card, made the radio wave go.
They had sex and what's saying is they went back to the laboratory.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they didn't have sex. They just slept for a bit. Not the same thing.
They might have had sex.
They had their clothes on. Tell me about it.
Oh, you can do it with your clothes on.
Yeah, eventually, she tells the bag the good news that all that stuff, and the bag reveals some information that she was keeping from Celeste. That she plans on destroying the Earth, and including Steve and Jesse and everyone else, which means that's what the council has told Bag to do. It's reveals its true colors, realizing Celeste decides to try to leave Bag at home, and Jesse and Steve they all head down to the lab to finish what they started. And this is where Bag decides to phone Ron and get him to pick up the bag.
Yeah,
and try to hold.
And it is a bit of a phone seduction to say, I really like you better than your brother. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And he's a sleaze bag, so he's going to go for it.
Yeah, so he's told to go and pick up the bag
on the way through, and meet us at the laboratory.
Yeah, they head down to the laboratory. Everyone's there, or not everyone, and they start up the machine, and then the radio stuff goes into the air, and it starts going directly into the outgoing
And he
galaxy.
replicates the original experiment, and lo and behold everything's
works.
good, and alien guys appear in the sky again, saying,
Well, actually, before the alien guys come, Celeste tells Ron to get rid of Bag.
the bag. Well, okay, we kill
Of
Bag.
course, Ron opens the bag, and then we see the eye protruding out and waving about. And then Steve, in his then takes the bag and throws it into the cyclotron.
Thing,
and this is where the creepy parts, where it electrocutes the bag and its creature inside.
It gets bigger and bigger, and
it gets bigger, and it.
And then the new cyclotron again just blew it up, yeah.
Eventually, we do see the elders outside, and they zap them out front.
And they wouldn't park lots. They can talk a bit easily out there and in the open.
And
the aliens want to
destroy the planet because
they saw, just in case they do it again.
They saw the radio thing as a bit of an invasion or something.
Well, yeah, they didn't understand what was going on. So.
Of course, Celeste says it was just an accident, and the fact that Steve didn't mean to send this radio thing in the first place. It was just a matter of science. And she then explains that that they can't destroy the Earth because there's so many good things about the place.
I like it.
She gives them a few examples and mentions Jimmy Durante.
Show me Jimmy.
And this is where we get the full
and
song.
And I do the Jimmy Durante routine, yeah.
Yeah. And the first they just say kill them, and then one of the elders sneezes, and he feels this is probably
contemplating. Strange feeling.
Yeah, and he then Celeste suggests to see through her eyes to see everything she experienced and felt and all that stuff.
Sandwiches, alcohol, love, sex, all the good stuff.
And he finally works out that Earth should be still experimented and studied
and analysed
and not worth destroying. So they spare it. But Celeste...
They want her to come home, but she wanted to stay.
Yeah, he wants her to come back so they can know more about the Earth and all that stuff.
But who puts his hand up?
Ron suggests that you need to know everything about love and all that stuff. And
King Sleazebag,
He then asks, is there anyone better out there like her on where you're from?
All of them.
Yeah, meaning everyone is probably a perfect being out there.
Yeah,
and he then Celeste suggests to send him up there,
he knows more.
I guess as an ambassador to Earth. If that's the word. Yeah. And the elders think about it and say, it's an interesting idea. And they say, okay, he can come. But Ron's unsure about it at first. He thinks, who's driving that very big spaceship?
And out comes the crew.
Yeah, all of them looking like beautiful replicas of Princess Stephanie of Monaco. We'll probably look at the photos of her later on.
Look, I remember seeing photographs for 30 odd years ago, and she was a very attractive woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Ron is thrilled. He's going to get right back on the spaceship with replicas of Princess of Monaco.
Princess Stephanie.
Princess Stephanie.
That's his dream girl, and all the other females back on this planet are supposed to be just as good.
Yeah.
What more could a sleazebag want? Hey.
Yeah. He then asks the elders before he gets onto the ship that whether or not he could bring his Rolls Royce.
A Rolls Royce convertible, very nice looking car. Says, this could be interesting.
Yeah, they said they're cool with it, and so Ron makes his final goodbyes to Jess, Clarissa, and to his brother.
Oh, by the way, he gives Steve the keys to his beach house. Yeah. Use it well.
Oh yeah, I bet Celeste and Jesse will love that.
Anyway, so now he flies off, and they do
much later on, Steve, Clarissa the elders tell us, Clarissa, that they'll be in touch, and they hope that she has a good life as a mortal. And so they head back to Steve's house, and where Jess wants to play a bit basketball.
Now, here's the thing. She says she's not supposed to have any power left without the help of the bag. However, roll on.
Jesse, whose one ambition is trying to jump like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Jess somehow Clarissa was able to help her lift her off the ground.
She levitated her up so she could sink a basket from Up, yeah, like doing a slam dunk. Yeah, that's the right pronunciation.
And then Calista heads upstairs with Steve to do the
and literally you see fireworks outside the bedroom window.
Hint, hint, guys.
There must be some power left in her because he could levitate the little girl, and there was fireworks outside the bedroom window. So and the neighbours will know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. Then we cross over to Ron in outer space, and he's playing at a piano.
There's a piano in the spaceship. Now, wait a minute. Where did the piano come from?
Hey, if they can make a bag be able to create dresses, I'm sure they could create a piano.
And he got all the girls hanging around, listening to every word he's saying and stuff. He's a centre of attention. He loves it.
Oh, yeah. And
Sleeve's bag will travel.
Oh, yeah. I do feel bad that this movie was not given any.
Now, wait a minute. No, the point. Then we fade to black. Okay.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Now, okay, right. We'll talk about the reception and stuff later. Okay,
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, look. Okay, what I mentioned before, the screenwriter Jericho Stone developed the original story under the working title "They're Coming." Mm-hmm. It was a drama and an allegory about child abuse. Okay. Now, and it was passed on to Paramount Pictures and somebody else, and over a couple of years, and the script finally got rewritten and became
an alien movie.
It was supposed to be an alien movie in the beginning, I believe. Mm-hmm. They got possibly, I don't know, but they got the idea of the alien, and what happened is that it got rewritten and became an alien story, a humorous one. And the end product we saw at the theatre. Now, the problem.
Okay.
The original screenplay resembled a horror film.
Oh.
Not a sci-fi.
Okay.
And it wouldn't have been a comedy either. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't be.
So much the rewrite of the rewrite made it into a comedy sci-fi. Some of the scenes... some of the scenes were filmed at Van Nuys High School and the Anaheim Stadium. And I'm not an American. I don't know where these places are. You guys probably would. Now, Don Carrera served as choreographer on My Stepmother's Island. He must have been a dance routine she did when she did the backflips and different things. And maybe, I'd say, but don't know. Probably. I didn't notice any choreography at that apart from that scene. So, interesting.
Maybe the Jimmy Durante thing.
Oh, yeah,
there was
maybe.
A bit of
that was pretty basic stuff.
I'm not an expert on dance routines, but maybe they might have needed someone to choreography that. I'm not sure.
Now,
maybe.
I'll go into... Here's a couple of things. Now, in one of the groups, when they're looking at making the movie, which didn't get off the ground, when it was back a couple of years earlier, they were looking at Bette Midler, Julie Andrews, and Raquel Welch as alternatives to play the leading role. They didn't follow through with that movie, so it was passed on.
I think
to another,
Raquel Welch would have been pretty.
Yeah, passed on to a different studio later on, and then Sybil Shepherd was considered, and Joan Rivers. Interesting for Joan. So they did bounce around from studio to studio, and nothing got off the ground until this last incarnation.
Well, you did say yourself, Mike, that they first it was a horrific idea, and then they had to rewrite it a couple of times.
Sometimes it takes a while for a movie to come together. Now, we're dragging on a bit here, so I'll whiz through some of this quickly. Critical response. Right. The film met with basically negative reviews.
Go figure.
No, they knocked the storyline because it was too lame and predictable. They knocked Dan Aykroyd as the leading man. He was the love role. He wasn't the leading man. Leading man in the love role. But it wasn't that sort of a movie. He was supposed to be a guy who's wrapped up in his science who gets seduced by an alien. It wasn't the other way around. He wasn't seducing the alien.
He's not supposed to be a hot, sexy guy.
No, he's an ordinary dad. Okay, who's still a bit missing his dead wife, that sort of stuff. So but pretty much there's only one guy here. Where is it? Where's the one here? Okay, in a generally favourable review, the Los Angeles Times criticised the film's sex humour. It was part of it. Okay, it was funny, and it wasn't explicit, so blow it at your bum. Calling it needlessly crass. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it.
But overall, praised the film, Right. It's, as he said, my stepmother is an alien in solid, wide-appealed holiday fare. Now, I'm going to stick to that line there, and that's what it was made as, a good family fun movie.
Yeah.
And I think it met all the criteria to fit into that. Anybody who's expecting anything more, sorry, it's not an action sci-fi, it's not a horror sci-fi, it's a comedy one based for the family.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, hint. It gets back to the reviewers not actually knowing what sort of movie they're reviewing.
Well, as I said before in the past, guys, when it comes to something that's new and out of the blue, and it's there's going to be people out there who may have mixed opinions about it.
And here's something you have to look at too. I always go by, it says sci-fi comedy. The main genre is sci-fi with some comedy thrown in, okay? Right, it's not a comedy of a bit of sci-fi thrown in.
It's not Starman.
No, sure. Okay. They mention Starman and that sort of stuff as a bit of a parody. So, yeah, it's not. Starman was not a comedy. You know, that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're trying to make comparisons. It wasn't. It was. It's a standalone movie, but one was a sci-fi comedy, one was just a sci-fi drama. They're not the same. Yeah. So these critics need to really get a grip on life and or get a new job. Now, moving right along to availability. Actually, here's the part that gets me. If it wasn't that damn good, why is it still available for sale?
Good point.
Why has it been transferred to Blu-ray if no one's watching it? So home media must be doing pretty damn good. Here we go. eBay, plenty for sale, including Blu-ray, okay, and Amazon, rentable, on Prime obviously, and plenty for sale. Now, in both cases, be careful of VHS copies because being an old movie, you'll probably find a few VHS tapes still out there.
But then again, you were saying at the beginning of this podcast that there were probably other things on at that time, and
there could have been other things on. Yeah,
the reviews were not favourable because at the time
the reviews got nothing to do with what else was going on. I'm talking about the box office before. Yeah, and box office. You remember that Dracula movie, the one done in America?
Yeah.
About back in the 80s or whatever it was. It didn't go really good because something else came out at the same time. I can't remember what it's called. I Married a Vampire or something or other, or I can't remember what it's called. A guy called Lederer was leading role as Dracula. But anyway, whatever. It passed under the radar because there's so many other things were going on at the same time, and no one knew it existed. I think I Married a Vampire or something.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's the one where he was a good-looking, dark-haired fellow.
I think you're referring to Love at First Bite.
No, it was a serious one, not Love at First Bite.
Oh.
We saw it. Yeah, it's long, but the guy called Lederer was playing the vampire guy.
That's him.
Love at First Bite was a comedy.
Yeah.
With John Waters or somebody in it. Thank you.
And Benjamin Richard.
I'm not talking about that movie. I'm talking about another one, which went under the radar because all these other movies are going on at the same time and no one knew it existed.
Well, can you explain what the storyline is?
A female comes to a town or something or other, gets ripped off by her flatmate, and then she hooks up with this vampire guy. I think. It could be another one. But the point is that it was a vampire movie made in New York or San Francisco or somewhere or other, and it passed under the radar because all these other movies were going on at the same time, and it wasn't a strong enough movie, but it was still a good movie. But
doesn't ring a bell.
Well, you saw it ages ago. It got squashed. Okay, passed under the radar. Just bear with me. We've got it. Okay, I haven't got the name of it in front of me at the moment. I haven't seen it for a couple of years. But yeah, a guy called Lederer was playing the lead role anyway. I think I could go on a computer now, but but yeah, some movies pass under the radar depending whatever else is hitting the market at the same time. And people go see the better movies.
Yeah,
and that's what I was trying to say. Yeah. Can you hear the puppy dogs?
Anyway, in my opinion, guys, it's an awesome movie, and I do think it was worth watching, and I do think what Cliss's
Celeste.
Dialogue was pretty out there and interesting.
It's supposed to be an alien,
and
naive alien, because she doesn't know anything about human beings, or emotions, or sex, or kissing, or food, or anything.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, as we established from the reviewers, they didn't realize that this is not a romance movie.
It wasn't a romantic comedy.
It was a comedy sci-fi.
If it's a romantic comedy, you'd have a better leading man.
Yeah.
Who, like a Cary Grant type or something rather. Yeah.
Or someone off Hallmark.
Yeah, see a Hallmark. Yeah, the current. Yeah, I'm Cary Grant because Cary Grant was always playing a good leading man in comedy roles.
Or Hugh Grant.
Or Hugh Grant, exactly right.
He was a hottie back then.
You put. Well, he's still not a bit wrinkly hottie now, but
well, I meant back in the 80s. He was pretty considering that a good looker back then. Yeah. He still brought bums and seats.
Yeah, whatever. No, all these good-looking guys. Yeah, you've got a good-looking guy there to play the male lead in a romantic comedy, but this is not a romantic comedy, so you don't need to have the guy to be great-looking. Anyway, irrespective, I have waffled enough.
Yes, I've waffled enough too. So let's rate this one.
Look, honestly, again. I'll say it fits the criteria it's aiming at. It's a sci-fi comedy. It's got the sci-fi bits in it. It's got the comedy bits in. It's not a comedy with some sci-fi thrown in.
Yeah.
Like, say, Spaceballs. To me, that's a comedy sci-fi. It's a lot of comedy thrown into that one. Not as comedy as that.
Yeah, and I know that this might not be anything like this, but when I looked at the Ghostbusters one about with the female one, where the females were the comedy relief, I compared this one to this movie, and I still think this one is a lot more better, better comedy wise.
Okay,
when
fine.
I think about, I'm just saying that they keep making the women in today's comedy movies a little bit more weirder and
less believable.
Sometimes, and it's not really funny.
Well, it's
on
funny,
the women's part.
they're pushing it too hard sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you have to lighten up.
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah, and do not force it, because this is not how it works.
Irrespective.
Anyway,
I'm going to give this, it meets everything I like in the movie. Acting's good, basic good special effects. I mean, they look like a real place, and satellite dishes and so, and the special effects they had. I'm going to give it 9. There you go.
I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 too. Yeah. Mostly because, as I said, these are old 80s comedies, when they did do it with the actual female being the lead, they do it a lot more better than they do nowadays, because they kind of force it a little too much.
They force the stories and the acting a little too much sometimes. Not in every movie, but
not every movie.
This plays along quite nicely. It's quite enjoyable. Yeah, and I think it was made as a good, fun family movie, and that's exactly what it is. It's a good, fun family movie. It's not meant to be a sci-fi extravaganza. It's not the side-splitting, laughing comedy. It's nice family fare. How's that?
Quite right. So it's worth watching, guys.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an oldie, 1988. It's got a couple of years on it. It hasn't got dust on it.
Yeah.
Wrinkles.
So as Mike said, it's on Amazon and on
eBay.
And eBay and
watch
DVD.
out for VHS copies being an old movie. Okay.
Yes.
Because the point is, I want to go for. I saw a couple of VHSs in there, so click on the right tab. But it's in Blu-ray, I think. You can get Blu-ray. I'd go for Blu-ray because it looks pretty good.
Yes, so feel free to check it out, guys. Give me let us know in the comments what you think of this movie.
Well, I think Dan Aykroyd's a pretty cool actor, and that's not because I saw him in Ghostbusters or Blues Brothers or was it Spies Like Us, whatever. Lots of other good movies he was in. I mean, he's a good actor.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was pretty cool, and I don't think anyone could fill those shoes in this movie.
You needed somebody who just came out like an ordinary dad in an ordinary job, who just happens to be a scientist, who gets
caught up with the whole sci-fi thing
in a relationship with an alien, and he's not ready for a relationship. He's not putting the hits on her. She's putting the hits on him to try and make him open up and say how he did what he did.
Yeah. In other words, he's not putting the metal to the pedal.
Oh, shut up. That just means going fast. Okay.
Although he was a bit on the heat of the pedal when he decided...
Marry me. After one day, well, gee.
Yeah, well...
I would have probably felt the same after 2 or 3 days. Tim's pretty good.
Yeah, if Mike here probably would say, isn't it a bit quick? Well, shouldn't you just wait a couple of days before you
but
start
she's going to
jumping
go
the gun?
home to Holland. Well, that's a bit of a joke. You have to watch the movie.
Yeah, see, she called...
No.
Yeah, good point. I won't tell you.
Don't tell me everything. Okay?
Yeah, there are some really awesome jokes, including...
Little sight gags, funny bits, whatever. It's a good all-rounder. It's not meant to tease the brain cells too much.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Interesting
Remember
fact.
the word fun? 3 little letters? F-U-N?
Yeah, here's another interesting fact that's not really newsworthy for this movie. The dog named Dave is actually named Peanut.
And Peanut was a beagle.
And Snoopy.
Snoopy was a beagle.
I almost they didn't call it Snoopy.
No, his name was Peanut because the man called him Peanut. He's the owner. He
Yes.
can call his dog anything he
Yeah,
likes.
also Peanut is the name of the comics,
Peanuts,
from Charlie Brown and Snoopy, yada.
Charles Schultz, remember him, guys?
Yeah, for those of you who have not read the comics or watched the cartoons or whatever haven't done over the last few years.
Well, they might still be having the newspapers over there.
Yeah.
Recirculating the old comics and stuff, but
Yeah.
I like Snoopy. He's cool.
He's cute.
To me, he falls in the same genre as Bugs Bunny. Totally in control,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still very wildly popular to this day. So, anyway, that's about it for us tonight, guys. So, feel free to check out My Stepmother Is an Alien whenever you can.
Check out Kim Basinger. Yeah.
I think she's hot, and I think she's great in Batman.
Think she's hot?
The Batman movie that
you're a
was
female.
Would you shut up? She was also in Batman, the 1989
Yeah,
one.
that was.
Yeah, that Tim Burton made.
She played a reporter, did she, or something?
Yeah, she played her Vicky Vale.
That's Vicky Vale.
Yes, a pretty hot
Very
actress.
good looking, and she went out with Bruce Wayne, didn't she?
Yeah, so-
or tried to.
Well, she did. And I wish that they continued with that. But anyway, back to the story. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We'll see you guys next time. This is Sarah Stephenson
And Michael.
saying see you guys around. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.